Hi everybody, and welcome to this fun live stream. It's going to be pretty cool. Anytime I talk about Pulse or Axn or Hex or anything like that, I get excited. It's pretty awesome stuff. Now today, obviously this video is all focused on Pulsechain, which I think is going to be the biggest opportunity in the year ahead. I think it's a massive deal. It is going to be a whole system state copy of Ethereum. It's going to be faster, stronger, more powerful. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So get into the chat. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the bell, hit the like button, smash that like button, of course, and share the video if you can. Be much appreciated. Get into the chat as well. We always love a lively discussion. Now, we don't have any tribalism on this channel. We basically talk about cryptocurrency. We like to have fun and enjoy it. And obviously, if we can pump our bags, we will. But we don't typically talk about meme coins and other stuff on this channel. Really try to get the value tokens. That'd be something that, like a certificate of deposit, might be on a leveraged platform that gives you stable coin returns. It might be something of value like that, something that really has a good DeFi value. We're into all that hardcore. And less the speculative stuff, I guess, is the way to put it. Yield farming still into that, though, of course, offers some upside. So there's lots of different sectors in cryptocurrency which do offer a lot of value depending on your risk return appetite. And that's where we're at. So let's get straight into it. We're on Pulsechain. Let's quickly check the chat to see. We've got some people jumping in already there. Hey, we got Power Windows. Thank you. Hey, Power Windows, great to see you. And I do see your comments on the video, so really cool to have you in the chat there. Power Windows, absolutely. And Alex K, our moderator. Alex is awesomely knowledgeable about cryptocurrency, so great to see Alex in there. More Pulse content daily. Absolutely. We're going to be covering Pulsechain big time as we move up to the sacrifice phase. That's the first part. Then we're going to have, obviously, there's going to be some calibrations at the end of sacrifice. So we're thinking that it's going to be about 14 days and 3 days calibration. We'll see what the final thing is. So originally it was going to be 30 days plus 3 days of calibration and publishing of the results, the US dollar commitments. And now we think it's going to be at least probably 2 weeks plus 3 days is our current estimate. Obviously, we won't know the final amount until Richard launches, but I think the launch is imminent too. And I said I picked Sunday, so here we're already in Sunday, but in UTC time, Sunday's still to play out. So definitely coming up, and most certainly I would say within the next few days, because it was 2 weeks and we're basically a weekend, and I think everything's looking good. The tweets that are coming out are very indicative of an imminent launch, so it's going to be fun. We're getting excited, but we're looking forward to Richard's stuff. So that's just one of the things we're going to talk about, is making sure that you're on the official sites. Don't want to get yourself scammed. Want to have this to be a fun, exciting experience, as well as the gold rush, as I call it. It's going to be pretty fun too. So the first stage is the sacrifice, and then we'll have probably the public test net as well. Will probably come live either at the same time or during the sacrifice. And then we'll have a snapshot at the end of all the ERC20s on Ethereum. Will happen somewhere in between there, and then we'll have mainnet launch. So it's going to be hugely exciting for sure. And I don't imagine mainnet launch is going to be too far behind the sacrifice phase, because it creates that excitement. Maybe 2 weeks is my guess. I mean, these are just my estimations based on all the information I've seen, but that's probably where I'm at on that. So I think that's pretty exciting. Let me just check the audio, make sure the audio is up and running, and let me just have a quick look on there. It's going good. Let's check that. Yeah, it's cool. Sorry, I thought it was off. So there we are. Nice to see the audio on. So that's where I think it's going to be going. That's the process. Well, obviously, the sacrifice phase is the main one, and we did get some announcement today on Twitter, so we're going to check that out. But the first thing I want to do is really make sure that you're following the official sites. Because there are a lot of scammers out there. This is people in the sacrifice phase. People are going to sacrifice their tokens and expect nothing under the Howey rule. Okay, so that's sort of a saying it's not a security, and people are going to mint their own stuff. So it's very important that happens, and that you go to that when you sacrifice, you're not sacrificing to a false address, etc. So we really need to key on that. So make sure you use official sites. So let's check out some of those at the moment. Obviously, we're on pulsechain.com. So this is the official site, right? So check that out. That's Pulsechain. And so there we are. We'll get back into that. So that's the Pulsechain one. I'll get Hexito. I see a question there. We'll get back to that in a second. So pulsechain.com, that's the official website. You can see that there with the HTTPS. That's the official site. Now from Pulsechain, you can open Telegram. That will open up the official Telegram channel, and you can join that, and that will be probably the best flow of information. And the Telegram is packed full of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. It's very energetic in there. Make sure that you listen to official announcements. Be very careful of the people's comments, because a lot of people don't know anything about the project. So just make sure you're just following there. There'll be lots of scammers trying to hit that Pulsechain Telegram. So just be very careful. Go for the pin notices at the top. There'll be pin messages. You can actually jump through the pin messages just by clicking on them. And also there's a voice chat up there too. You can get into the voice chat. That can be a lot of fun too. And you can have a chat about stuff with people online there as well. So that's the thing. So the website, the official Telegram, and then obviously Richard Hart YouTube. So here's Richard Hart YouTube. You can see it here. I'll post this in the chat as well. Make sure you get for that. So Richard Hart YouTube, let me just post this. Really important, because we know with the sacrifice address, it's a very big target for scammers. So we just don't want anybody, to really get fooled by that. So there's Richard Hart's YouTube channel. Now you can go and double check the channels. Of course, I'm posting them to you, but don't go double check them all, and they'll be perfectly good. So there's the YouTube channel. And the next thing, of course, is the last thing. So that's number 3. So we've got the website, we've got the Telegram, we've got Richard's YouTube channel. He's going to announce the sacrifice on the YouTube channel, and it will obviously filter through those other channels of his. Obviously, it's going to go through on Hex on websites as well, and that will be cool too. They've got Telegram website, hex.com, etc. And then the final one, of course, is Twitter, and that's where we're going next. So Twitter is here, and you can see Richard Hart's Twitter. So we're going to go back out there. We're going to jump back down into this latest tweet at the moment. So here's Twitter at the moment. So Richard Hart win is the one. It's got a reference on here, but this is the link. Let me just jump back here. Oh, we'll go back there. So let me go back. I don't want to lose that. So here is the official one. Remember to double check anything that I give you. Double check it, of course. That's the key. Obviously, we're a legit channel, but you need to double check yourself. Very important. So I just want to get this out of the way, because if the sacrifice is imminent, as we're expecting, it's very important that you use the official channels, right? So here's the Richard's Twitter, Richard Hart win, and you can go double check all those again. This is going to be very important that you're on the official channel. So I think that's it. I've wrapped it up. Those are the 4 key official channels. So hopefully that helps you avoid any unsatisfactory or some horrible incident as well. All right, let's quickly just jump back here. I'm just going to jump over there. Alex Case, we just know it won't be until sacrifice ends. Could be the next day or a few days later. That's true. Hexeto, so Alex K answered that one for you. We just won't know until the sacrifice ends. Could be the next day or a few days later, and when we get the snapshot, because that snapshot's very important. Obviously, there's a lot of gamification around that, because people are going to get a copy, a biggest airdrop in history, basically, of the Ethereum ERC20s over onto Pulsechain, and so the snapshot will be an important date. So there'll be a lot of gamification going on with that for sure, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out on a number of ERC20 tokens, especially obviously the Golden Child Hex, and see how that plays out too. All right, thanks for that, Alex. Really good. Hey, Jason, good to see Jason in there. Good to hear the correct websites where we hate scammers. Absolutely, Jason. I just wanted to heads that up at the start. And I know it's maybe not the most exciting topic, but it's the most important topic if you think about it, because you want to have a good experience and have your tokens going to the right place. Otherwise, you're just giving your money to some scammer somewhere, which is not cool. And that's very upsetting. And big shout out to Jason. Thanks for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Really awesome stuff. Thank you very much. The support, any support for this channel helps me to expand the messaging on this channel, particularly around Axion, around Pulsechain, and related topics like Hex and stuff like that, and also crypto generally. We cover that. Really cool stuff. Trying to get the best value, because there's a lot of stuff when the market goes into bearish conditions. You'll find out which are the better projects, right? And those better projects typically have a yield attached to them, and that's why we typically promote yield-based value tokens. There'll be a certificate deposit like Hex, Wise, Axion, or it would be something like a stable coin leverage platform like Compound, Aave, or Celsius, something like that. or it would be something like a yield farming, which you can do, on Matic, something like Adamant, Quick Swap, something like that. Obviously, those have higher risk returns, but those are the yield ones. They hold up best in a bearish market, and that's what we typically promote, as opposed to something that's just empty, that's based on speculation. So when the market goes down, they crash like wildfire. So that's a bit of a speech about that, but we'll move on. All right, so that's that, folks. Let's quickly go down. This is Richard Hart's thing. So we're going to get into the list of tokens that we know of at the moment. Obviously, this may or may not be the final list when it gets launched, so just take that into account. But so far, we knew from the random list of the coins that was posted on Telegram that we were going to have BTC, Wrap BTC, Ren BTC, ETH, Wrap Bitcoin, USDC, Unicoin, Hex, Link, DAI, USDT, Aave, Maker, MKR, Litecoin, LTC, Dodge, Zcash, ZEC, Bitcoin Cash, ADA, Cardano, DOT, SOL, Solana, and I think it's Aave, as well as XRP. And Justin talked about XRP the other day with the Sens Foundation. Doesn't look like they're particularly only setting certain type of coins for the Sens Foundation. If you're going to be into that, you have to email them, of course, to get for that part. And FTT, I think it is the last one. So that was the random one that was on the pin message some time ago on Telegram. That's the official Pulse Telegram. But of course, Richard has launched today, or basically posted today, I should say, the new set of coins. We're just going to go back down and check that. Here it is here, new coins added to the chart. Now these coins line up well. Obviously this is a comparison between Hex returns and all these other coins, but most of these coins are already on the random sacrifice list that was originally posted. So I expect basically all of these, maybe with the exception of Shiba on there, should be on the sacrifice. We'll see that, but this looks like it lines up exactly, but I can't say that with full confirmation because it's just got new coins added to this chart, which is typically used to show the comparison, but they do line up very well with the original list. So let's go to quickly check that out. So we've got at the moment we've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, ADA, Dodge, XRP, DOT, BTC, ETH, BTC, ETH. Oh, it's got obviously a couple of the shorter versions: DOT, Uni, BCH, Sol, LTC, Link, ICP, Matic. Now that's one of the interesting ones. Matic's in there, but obviously that's going to be ERC20 version as opposed to Matic sitting on the second layer, something like if you got on QuickSwap or something like that, or just on Matic in general. Theta, XLM, ETC, VET, Wrap Bitcoin, obviously FIL, TRX, Tron, EOS, XMR, Aave, KSM, OKB, Shiba. And so it's one of these. I'm not completely sure that will actually be there at the time because Richard has not generally favorable of meme coins, just like I'm not. So interesting. Neo, Atom, IOTA, T-Fuel, BSC, Algo, Cake, CRO, MKR, Celsius, XTZ, FTT, Kale, Avax, and Ruin. And obviously a lot of those are on the original list. So there's a good chance that most of those, if not all of them, will be on there. But obviously we're going to find out when ultimately the platform launches. But that was pretty interesting that he had added new coins. So there we are, folks. I thought that was pretty interesting. Nevertheless, even if he's just comparing Hex versus those, he really is comparing Hex versus those, and they'll be sacrificable. So that's my anticipation there, but it's not 100%, of course. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's quickly go in the chat. There, awesome. Hey, big shout out to Jason again. Another super chat, super sticker. Really appreciate that. Supporting the channel. Wonderful stuff. Really do appreciate that. Big shout out to you. And Hexeto, that's great. Thanks. Really, that's really cool too. And so yeah, get into the chat. Let us know what you've been doing. Don't forget to check out some of the videos that Richard's been doing lately. Really cool. They're generally about crypto, but Richard's going to be doing a full thing on Pulse and Hex next week on Banter channel. So it's going to be specifically focused. He was already on Banter channel, and that was hugely successful. But he talked about crypto. He really dominated what I thought was a pretty intelligent lineup on there. But he really dominated that too. So another victory there for Richard, if you want to look at it like that. But that's pretty cool. All right, so that's pretty much the main stuff there on the tokens. And we've talked about the sacrifice. We've talked about the process, of course, with the sacrifice, then snapshot and mainnet, and obviously public testnet in there too. We've also talked about, obviously, pretty much the coin lineups that would be for sacrificable. Now, the other side of it, of course, is that it's really based on the US dollar value that you're going to sacrifice. And the reason why people are going to sacrifice in this first phase is because they want to get the pulse chain. Now, we know that when we get the copy, you'll get a copy of ERC20 tokens over onto the pulse chain. So there you have to do nothing for that. That's just going to happen. So if you're holding them on Ethereum at the snapshot, you'll get them over on the pulse chain for free, the biggest airdrop in history, and that's going to be hugely fun. Also, they're going to be priced up from zero, so that you're going to have a huge gold rush. You don't know what you're going to be. So if you like unicorns on Ethereum, you can try and pick them up and price them up on the pulse chain. So there's going to be a lot of that price discovery. That's the gold rush part. And also, you're going to get one-to-one pulse for ETH over there. So that's how they're going to roll. Plus, also, it looks like a lot of the whales in ETH will be prevented. Ones that have just got ETH just sitting there for years after year. The giant whales, maybe 150,000 ETH or 200,000 ETH, something like that. We know that Vitalik had something like 300,000 ETH that he moved recently, and he said that was pretty nerve-wracking, which I thought was hilarious. It would be pretty nerve-wracking, but it's funny hearing it from Vitalik, the leader, of course. And so you got that going out. It looks like a lot of those probably stomped out there. And so therefore, if you're getting one-for-one for ETH, then really the big game is the sacrifice. If you want to get Pulse Chain big time coins and become a Pulse whale early on, that's the play that you're making, right? That's the play that you're making. So you're going to sacrifice US dollar value of these coins. It's going to be based on time-weighted price. And so that means that people are going to be sacrificing in, and it should play out well. Obviously, that's why people are buying Hex, push the price up of Hex, and you're going to get that high-rated price of Hex on there. So some people are looking at 2 times the price of Hex. Some people even think 3 or 4 times, 4 times the price of Hex. What it is now is currently about 8.5 cents. We're going to check that out quickly too, so you can see. At Hex at the moment, sitting around about 8.5 cents. You can see it's just moving sideways at the moment. But obviously, if with Pulse Chain imminent, what's it going to do? Hit 10 cents. We will get some selling into it. Don't get me wrong. There'll be people that won't be playing the Pulse Sacrifice. That won't be playing the holding Hex. They'll be playing a short game on Hex, waiting for a 2x, a 3x, a 4x. There will be that. But is that going to be enough to outdo all the people that are trying to push Hex price up to get best US dollar value on the Hex on the sacrifice? So that's going to be really important. So if we actually look at some of these coins, of course, let's quickly go into some of the chat there. We've got a question there from Alex. Alex says, I like Alex Manshinsky and RH both. Seeing them both at the same time was extra fun. Very smart guys. Yeah, I thought Alex was really smart too. He was really good, Alex. That's confusing when I'm saying Alex twice, but Mashkeski was really up there with Richard, and they both had some really good insights. You're absolutely right. I was going to say that earlier. I probably overshot that a bit. Jason says, where do we find a banter channel for Richard Hart? Okay, let's just quickly go back up here. Let's just up here. Let me just scroll back down, actually. Pull this up. Good question, Jason. So it's this one here. Let's just quickly go to this channel. I'm just going to close down the Richard Hart one. I don't think it's on the Richard Hart one yet. No, it's not. So these are all Richard's last post was a week ago. So that says a lot, doesn't it, on his channel? But he's been doing public videos on other channels promoting. So you know that it's getting close to imminent, right? Because you've got that happening. So here's the video that Richard was on. You can go check that out. Nice question though. They're RH on Banter channel. This was a very popular video, by the way, and this is where Richard's going to be back on next week, coming up, talking about Pulse and talking about Hex. So it's going to be really awesome, that. So do check that out. Really good question there, Jason. Nice one. Hey, and also big shout out to Jason for those 2 super stickers that really help support the channel. And yeah, I'm intending on doing more and more promotions of all those different topics. And the other side of it is that I have got memberships have now been activated since yesterday. Got the first member on there, John Atkins, one of our good supporters of this channel, got on there and became the very first membership. I think he took the second one, the elite membership. So awesome stuff. I'm going to be doing some intro videos and stuff about that later today. So you can get on and now be a member and support this channel. And obviously all the money is going back into the channel promotion and going to be promoting XN. And obviously we're going to talk about awesome other topics like Pulsechain and general crypto projects as well, especially like I say, yield delivering crypto. That's the one that's the most valuable, whether it's doing lending, whatever it's doing. Collateral NFTs are coming up. Looks like Wise has given the solution for that. So that's ginormous in crypto. But crypto's really maturing now. DeFi is really changing the game on the blockchain. It's going to be pretty awesome. We're now getting these ideas and these projects, and the mathematicians and the blockchain designers be able to make these products that are giving you high returns for lower risk. That's really awesome stuff. Really exciting to see that. All right, Jason says thanks. Hey, you're welcome, Jason. Hey, great. Really appreciate your support. All right, so that's where we're going on that. Let me just get out of this. I've got some ad running on there. I apologize for that. But this is the channel here, and this is the banner. So I think this is Alex. I think the Sakitsky. He was really good, and Richard there is in the middle there, which is quite a good spot. So nice one there. Go check that out. It's a really, really good interview. Richard keeps us cool as well, because obviously, but this chap here was extremely good. This guy here wasn't too bad either. Don't know his name, but yeah, this is the well-known host. I think he's on CNBC as well. But his knowledge is under par compared to a couple of these other guys on here. But he's an entertaining guy. But these guys here are really, Richard and this guy here, Alex, I think it is, really know their stuff. So awesome. And Alex says Machinsky, almost the same word as machine. Yeah, absolutely. Alex, nice one. All right, so that's good, cool. Check that out. It's always good when we've got these big launches like Pulsechain coming up to really watch every video, get every insight you can out of it, and also do good stuff. Now, in terms of strategies, Richard has talked about for the Pulsechain. He's just said off the cuff. He feels this is a good number. It's doing 2/3 Pulse and 1/3 Hex. So if you buy Hex, for example, maybe you bought let's say you bought 10,000 Hex, that you might do, say, 7,000 or 6,500 into the sacrifice and hold the other amount for price appreciation. You could almost probably, under the right circumstances, when the price goes up enough, you can almost free carry as well. But then, of course, you're picking up a lot of that Pulse in US dollar value, and the price of Hex gets split up. You've got the TWAP price as well being taken into account for the the data set at the end, those 3 days where it gets calibrated at the end. So I think that's pretty good strategy. A lot of people are taking that strategy. Some people are just going to go all Hex. They're just going to buy Hex, hold Hex. Some people are going to buy other coins they like we say Unicoin will probably be pretty popular since it's one of the top ERC20s, so forth. So I think that's pretty interesting. So what else we got in there? We've got, if we look on CoinGecko at the moment. So the other side of it, of course, is based on your US dollar amount you sacrifice. So it's one way you could look at it. You just go, oh, I'm going to sacrifice this much US dollars. And some people asked me about the minimum. I think we had yesterday. I think the minimum, it can be anything, but I think if you're looking at significance, then if you did something like at the very lowest, if you did something like maybe $100 or even $250, that would be something that could multiply quite a lot. I mean, if it goes 100x, I mean, we can't predict the future, but if it goes 100x, 100x on $250, that's pretty massive. So I think if you can think of it like that, obviously quite a few people will be doing in the thousands, maybe 2,000, 1,000. Some people are doing 10,000, some people are doing much more than that. We know that there's a number of millionaires lined up. They'll be doing, probably hundreds, if not millions of dollars lining up there, and some probably in the tens of millions. So it's going to be interesting to see what the total amount of US dollars is actually sacrificed in the sacrifice phase. And we know that that's going to run, at least probably 14 days is the expectation based on Richard's last comment about it being half, say, the 30 days that was going to be there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see exactly how much US dollars gets in there. The total amount that people put in there, of course, is going to be reflective back in. Richard likes that reflective, right? Because he's talking about how, BTC and ETH and all those other liquidity pools are reflectively interlinked to each other. And that's why when the market pulls down on those lead coins, it pulls the rest of the market down as well. And so that sort of reflexivity is in there is related to the total US dollars of people, how much people actually bid in. And of course, that's related to what the market's actually worth at the moment. And we can see that Bitcoin's at $33,805 at the moment. We can see that Ethereum's at $2,126 at the moment. And we can see that's what's happening. We've got Binance there at 318. Binance is actually doing pretty well. I don't know if you've noticed that last couple of days, it's actually been holding up pretty well, I thought. Cardano sitting at 135. Of course, that's everyone's waiting for the smart contracts and stuff to come out there. Been a couple of years in the making, from what I can tell. But I think that once that goes, that price could really rocket. And you've got XRP 63, etc. So let's quickly go through some of these coins. Obviously, we've got BTC, REP BTC, REM BTC, ETH. That looks like we haven't had those confirmed yet though, but that's what we're expecting to be in there. ETH, of course, it was number 2. We've got USDC, of course, and what do we got down there? We've got Uni, of course, and Uni at the moment sitting at number 11 on CoinGecko. What else? We've got Hex, of course, is sitting at number 5 on what's it, number 5 on, I've just forgotten now, on nomics.com. Apologize for that. Number 5 on nomics.com at the moment, and you can check that out. Let's actually go check that out while we're live here. Why not? So if you go to nomics.com, Hex is not gatekept on that. Obviously, Hex is gatekept on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, and there's actually a court case going to go up on that. But they have been, like I said yesterday's video on Debt Radar, which is the biggest place for the DeFi stuff. Hex has been unleashed on there now, and so you can see that slowly the walls are moving away. And so that project's going forward even more. It's really pre-viral, I guess, as you might want to call it. So Hex is sitting at number 5 there, so you can see that. What else we got? Let's go back to this. Going back to this, because it's got the 24 and 70 days there. We've got Link, of course. So Link's in there somewhere. Just trying to think where that is actually. Don't have any Link myself, so don't actually see where that is. It's probably on the list. Let's go and type it in. That's why we've got the old search bar. So we've got Link in there at Chainlink number 15, so we can actually scroll that down to that. It's not too far down. So Chainlink number 15, that's at 1830. You can see market cap 8 billion on that, and liquidity 582. So you can see how people buy up Hex because it's easy to move the liquidity and the price, whereas these have all got quite large volumes on them as well, which is reflecting that. We've obviously got DAI, USDT, Aave, of course, and Aave's not too far from here, if I recall. I'm going to try and check that out. I didn't think it was quite that far down. Let me just type it in. It's probably easy to just type it in when you've got so many coins in there. So Aave's 31. Yeah, I knew I was going to miss past that. It's always harder when you're doing a live stream to catch out the exact number. So 31 Aave. So it's got a $3.8 billion market cap at the moment. So you can see how that's going to play out. We've got Maker, MKR, and LTC. Well, we know the Litecoin's up here somewhere. There is LTC sitting at 9 billion. We've got Maker as well. And let's go up and do the search bar. Let's go check that. Maker. Yeah, Maker 45, so that's cool. They do move around a lot these days, I don't know if you've noticed, but they just where you get used to them sitting there, they've moved around. That's cryptocurrency for you. 2.4 billion. 75 million, so that's probably an easier one to move price, depending on who's moving it, of course, in any particular liquidity pool. But definitely 45. Obviously, as the further you go down, the easier you're going to be able to move the price on something, typically speaking. So we've got that. We've got obviously Litecoin. We've talked about Dodge, of course. Elon Musk's favorite coin. Now there was talk about them trying to speed up Dodge, make it faster. Of course, that's the rumor there. So Dodge coin, and that's sitting at 27, and that might have a bit of movement on there as well. It's only 21 cents. We'll see whether Elon Musk can single-handedly lead that into glory. But that's one. We've got Zcash and BCH. So obviously BCH sitting down at number 12, 9.4 billion. What do we had? Zcash as well. I think that's not too far away. Zcash. I thought it was near here, but we'll find it out. Let me go up here. I know it's not too far down. Zcash. I'll spell that. ZKC. Zcash 72. Boy, that's gone down a lot. I'm pretty sure that was way higher before. Let's go down all the way down to 72. Just sort of going through some of these coins, and yeah, 1.2 billion. So obviously easier to move these ones. Obviously 606 million though is a pretty high 20-hour volume, but you can see why Hex is so attractive to move, and that's why a lot of people will be using that, in my view. So we could it's creating a good strong straw man for the Hex pump as well, given the liquidity. So you've got Zcash, BCH, Cardano, of course, which right at the top, 80A. So that's 43 billion, almost a billion in 20-hour, 4-hour volume, even if you take out wash trading and stuff like that. So pretty awesome. We got Dot, of course, and SOL. So Dot sitting Polkadot, of course, one of my favorites. I think Polkadot's got a lot going for it in the future, so watch out for that. And just like Cardano, I think Polkadot's got some really good in economic justification for pumpamentals. So that's really cool. That's sitting at 15.5. And what else we got on there? SOL. Let's go SOL. Solana there, sitting at just under 8.7 billion at the moment, 410 million 24-hour volume. It might be one of the easier ones. You may see a bit of a move on that. I think these top ones, it's pretty hard to move those prices, and Richard said that many times, and obviously that's why the smaller liquidity pools, smaller caps on ESC20s are easier to move the price up. Obviously depends on the amount of economic energy that the community and that as an individual that you might have, but that's why Hex has kind of been almost a golden child, isn't it? From that point of view. So we've got that. So and we've got Aave obviously in XRP, of course, sitting in there 63, and we've got that at 29 billion. So you get going through those, and then we've got FTT. Now I'm not super familiar with FTT. Yeah, FTX token. That's number 39. Actually, not that familiar with that one, but that looks like it's going to be in play as well. So 2.6 billion market cap. All right, so those are some of the ones that were on the original list, and obviously there's a few extra ones, but hopefully that helps you just go through some of those. Let's go back into the chat and just check out some of these comments. Alex says, Alex says, CNBC South Africa, he was one of the earliest crypto supporters, so let's go back to that. We're talking about this chap on the left. I just forget his name. I used to know his name off by heart, used to watch him all the time, but once you get a bit mature in crypto, you sort of leave those people behind, and you're looking for the real good ones, so that's why we watch people like Richard these days. So that's how we roll. That's quite hilarious. Everyone, you started talking about crypto. Yeah, everyone should put at least $100 into Pulsechain. In my opinion, it's a high percentage gamble. Yeah, I agree with that, Alex. I think that's why. Yeah, I think I was talking about something, at least something that much would be of great significance, especially if you've got 100x or so. The price, like I said, I think the price is going to go boom like this, price discovery, pull back, and then over time it will start going up. Just a classic crypto thing, but it's going to be more tangible because Pulsechain is a real chain and it's copying the system state of Ethereum. Plus, obviously, it's got Richard Hart's, sort of branding around it as well. So I think that's probably the case. Space D007, hey, good to see you. Is it better to sacrifice Hex or ETH? Will we get a Pulse for sacrificed? Will we get Pulse for sacrificed ETH and P Hex for sacrificed Hex? Not sure. Thanks. And well, Alex is kind of trying answering there. Hex has a higher chance to appreciate during the launch phase. So if you time it correctly, it may give you better US dollar value in theory. Yeah, and I agree with that. So Alex has answered that really well, and I agree with that one on there for Space 007. Custard says, is there a full list of sacrifice coins? Can we sacrifice Axion? No, we don't think Axion or Wise will be on the list since they're originally, this is a very important term, they're originally copies of Hex. I mean, accrued copies, but they're originally copies. The code's actually very different for both of them, actually, but that's where they originally were founded from. But now the projects are completely different from the most, apart from having the certificate deposit share rate stuff, which is obviously one of the groundbreaking things of Hex. They're actually very different now. Obviously, with WiseB, you can now get the US dollar airdrops on WiseB. On Binance Smart Chain, it's also on ETH Chain. You've got yield farming on there, you've got all that sort of stuff happening. So it's very different from Hex, which is pretty much a finished product with the 38% APY, the share price going up all the time, the T shares, all that sort of stuff. Whereas obviously an Axion's different. It's got a wrap Bitcoin dividends, and that's really the main driver of the auction. So where a lot of people look at the market price, but the success of Axion at the moment is mainly in the auctions and the max staking. So that's different. They've still got some issues around the auction price, the market price, but that's, there's solutions for those too. So they're both evolved in different areas now, so not really comparable. So hopefully that helps you there, Custard. Good questions. Full sacrifice list, yeah. So if you go to Pulsechain and in the Twitter, that I posted those already. If you go to Pulsechain Telegram, click the pin messages, you will find the draft list. There's a draft list and not a final list of the coins, and that's in one of the lists up there. Just keep pushing through it to get that. And also, if you look at Richard's Twitter, you can see the tweets that have keep coming out, and he's added new coins to that. Let me just jump up here So at new coins added. So it looks like a good chance that these will be the list of coins so far, but it will probably be a lot more. Now remember that if you're going to be sacrificing to ETH or ERC20 tokens, they're all going to be the same, right? Same address. So everybody will be sacrificing to the same address for those, right? If they're non-ERC20s, non-ETH chain tokens or coins, I should say, that you'll have to go onto the actual site. So you have to go onto Pulsechain. There'll be a site here which will have basically the sacrifice. For the sacrifice, you'll log on with your MetaMask wallet. You must have a MetaMask wallet installed. Log on with that, and then you can then nominate a non-Ethereum chain token to do your sacrifice, and it will issue you a unique address. So that's very careful. A unique address will be issued to you for non-Ethereum tokens. Otherwise, everybody, if you're doing a sacrifice of an Ethereum token or Ethereum, it will be going into a sacrifice address that everybody will be sacrificing into. Hopefully that's clear on that. So it's very important. You can actually see those on the tweets. On Richard's tweets are on there earlier. I have to go scroll back quite a bit here because I think it's not sure where they were down here, but further down. Just confirm what I just said to you, because always good to get confirmation, right? So just trying to give you that as well. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Hit the bell, of course. Do subscribe. Also, memberships have just opened for this channel yesterday, so get in there. We've already had our first member supporting this channel and the vision that this channel has. So get into that. Really trying to give value to people in crypto land, trying to avoid all those speculative plays and get some real value. So check out. It's really be good to support this channel as we grow. All right, let's quickly scroll down here. We got past here. We're just about there, folks. Bear with me as we go. Almost there. Don't forget, there's also the Sens Foundation sacrifice that you have to send an email to them for that. Right, so here we are. So please install MetaMask if you plan to participate in the sacrifice phase. All right, you must have it installed for the sacrifice page on pulsechain.com, and that's this page here. So there'll be a sacrifice page on this official site when it does launch. I've posted that in the chat there if you want to check that out. I'll also leave the links to these in the video description after I've done the live stream. So it's important. Then the other update that we got, this is from the 6th of July. Okay, and then the other update, we're going for ETH and Ethereum based tokens. There's going to be a single address that everyone sends to. All right, so we're all going to be sacrificing ETH or Ethereum tokens to the same address, so all of us. All right, now on the other hand, the sacrifice has not yet started, and wait to see when it announces, of course. Do not fall for fake websites. I talked about that already. And the other side of it, of course, is that now, when you have the MetaMask installed on Pulsechain, it will issue you a unique address to sacrifice on for non-Ethereum chains. Okay, so there will be a unique address just for you for non-Ethereum chain tokens that you're going to sacrifice, but there will be for ETH and Ethereum, it's going to be one single address that everyone sacrifices to. Okay, hopefully I've explained that well on there, but that's come up too. Those are official tweets there. All right, Alex K says, yes, going through that. Custard would have to swap. What happened there? I'm not sure what happened there. Let's go back. Jumped too far now, haven't I? Would have to swap out to ETH, Hex, or some other token first. Yep, agree. Property review, great coverage today. Hey, I really appreciate that property review. That's really cool. Much appreciated. And power windows, yes, absolutely. Oh, awesome stuff. Property review, when can we do a review of your house, Richard Hart 2.0? Can we do a review of your house, Richard Hart 2.0? Nice one there. Hey, yeah, I did actually check out your channel, of course, the other day. Property review, very cool. I love your show on properties. Pretty impressive mansions. So yeah, pretty nice. Maybe Richard, you could do. Don't know if you'll be able to do Richard's house, but you could cover his watches. He's certainly got some expensive watches on there. And Custard says, love your streams. Hey, Custard, I really appreciate that. It really means a lot for sure. Alex K, Space D007. You don't get P Hex for sacrifice, only for holding Hex. That's correct. So if you're going to want to get a Pulse Hex or P Hex, as we call it, you need to be either holding liquid Hex or having a Hex stake. Your Hex stakes are just going to get copied over. Your liquid Hex is going to get copied over, and you're going to get P Hex equivalent stakes and P Hex equivalent liquid on the Pulse chain when it gets copied over. So one strategy is you do nothing. You don't enter the Pulse sacrifice. You don't have to do that. If you've got stuff on the ETH chain, it will just get copied over onto Pulse chain, and that will be free stuff for you, the biggest airdrop in history. And then it's going to be a gold rush on the price discovery to work out what the price is going to be compared to ETH. And you know, is it going to be worth 10% of the ETH chain? You know, we don't know. It's going to be 30%. We just don't know. It's going to be a pretty interesting time over time. Obviously, we do. But I actually think that there's going to be some new DeFi products coming onto Pulse chain. So I don't know if you've really thought about that. So you know how I talk about compound, Aave, and stuff like that, where you've got stable coins, you've got top coins that get you know, returns on them. Well, so there could be new stuff coming on to Pulse chain and the DeFi space that could be really quite revolutionary. So I think you look out for that too. So that's going to be a lot of value added stuff over time. Now, will it impact the initial price where we see a lot of price discovery and then pull back? It probably won't, but once the chain starts to get some maturity, it will really start to rise. We did see that with Hex. Remember, Hex launched on the 2nd of December, 2019. You know, it went up and then it came down about the 4th, 5th of January, 2020, and then it slowly started having parabolic rises, you know, waves until now where we've got this giant mega one, and it looks like set to go even higher. Because once the Hex gets sacrificed, that's why it's the golden child. It doesn't get any Pulse airdrops, but the sacrifice address is unlikely to sell it, as Richard has indicated hypothetically, and therefore there will be, if let's say we've only got 5% liquid Hex in the market now, that could be even lower, 4%, 3.5%, who knows? And then that there will be held by the sacrifice address and won't be sold into the market. Maybe the other coins that get sacrificed, the other ERC20s, the other ETH, non-Ethereum tokens, coins, they could be sold off. Who knows? We don't know what the sacrifice address is going to do. So it's going to be interesting stuff there. Power Windows, love the content, brother. Hey, Power Windows, really appreciate that. Super duper. And Jennifer Mahuru, hey, welcome, Jennifer. Great to see you. Thanks for all of your info. I have some of the ERC20 coins in my Trust wallet. Will I have to send them to my MetaMask? I would suggest so at this stage, based on the tweet that Richard sent out about MetaMask. Yes, that's what I would assume. So that's what say. Please install MetaMask if you plan to participate in the sacrifice phase. I think that answers your question pretty directly there. I'm not aware of anything separate from this tweet about that. So welcome to that. All right, so let's quickly jump down there. Hey, nice question there, Jennifer, too. All right, so D space D number 7. Okay, thanks, Alex. So the sacrifice of any coins will give Pulse coins an equivalent dollars value, right? Yeah, so it's really about the US dollar value, no matter what the coin you're using. All right. Obviously, the Hex is the easiest one to move up because it's got smaller liquidity compared to the big chains. We've already shown that. If you go to any of these coins that are on the list, you know, like any of these Ethereum, look at you're trying to move something that has a $17.5 billion in 24-hour volume. Trying to move that price, that's hard. You need big bags to you know, big economic energy to move that. So that's why Hex is much easier to do. And if we go on anomics.com, we can actually see that here. You know, you've got $48 billion value with the Origin wallet is included, but you've got the volume there at 23 million. You know, and you compare that to the top here, Ethereum 20 billion, and you've got 23 million here for Hex on there. And it's just because of the way that market caps are calculated. And that's the Origin wallet, you know, owns so many of the coins there, which is actually a really cool feature because even though it's a managed project, it's actually helps to add value over time, because scarcity is the number one thing. The less coins that you have on the market is the key. And of course, if you can keep ramping up demand against less coins, and that's what looks like it's going to happen in the sacrifice phase, the price of Hex will just keep moving up. And that's what every project's trying to get to, right? Every project's trying to get that liquidity squeeze in the say Uniswap and wallets on say Ethereum on the blockchain, trying to get that liquid down as low as you can, so you reduce the sell side and you increase the buy side, and that's part of staking, right? And Hex is and Axiom for that matter, and Wise, whatever those CDs you're in, the longer that you stake, the more people are staked. Obviously, they get the benefit later on. It's deferred gratification, as Richard says, but of course that takes off coins off the market. Every coin that gets staked on the blockchain gets destroyed, gets burnt, and in return you get shares, and shares are the most important thing you can have. So very cool on that one. So hopefully that helps out there. It's very good to understand, you know, the stakes. So when we say certificate of deposits, they're not exactly the same as banks. You know, where banks you put in your dollars, they don't get destroyed; they just get put into the pool, I guess, and then you get your return at the end, which is, you know, normally pretty dismal these days, maybe 0.5% return per annum. Whereas in these certificate deposits on the blockchain, your tokens, which are, you know, like US dollars, for example, will actually get destroyed. So they don't just get put in the pool, get destroyed, and you get shares in return. But then you get the tokens back plus interest and any penalties in the future, and dividends, depending on what project you're in, right? So in Hex you get penalties, but in Axion you'd get wrapped Bitcoin dividends, Axion dividends on top of your 8% return, right? Whereas Hex, the return's 3.69. But of course, if there's only so many people staked, was like 9.7% people staked, then your returns, your actual APY is up like 38%, 40%. That's how that works. So yeah, interesting stuff there. Good questions. Really cool. Alex K says, not equal dollar value, Pulse will be technically worthless at launch. That's true. And we'll go through price discovery. Yeah, it's a different question, but yeah, that's true. Which will go through price discovery mode, but how much you get is based on the formula within the sacrifice pool using US dollar value. Absolutely spot on, Alex. Thanks very much. So Alex is our head moderator, very knowledgeable about crypto. Very cool. Alex K, you can also just hold Hex and then trade PHEX for Pulse after the launch. That's true. And a lot of people will be doing that, right? Some people will be holding value on the sidelines. They won't be going all in on sacrifice, for example. They'll try and buy Pulse maybe on a pullback. Or on the start or on a pullback. A lot of people try and do a pullback and then pick up heaps more Pulse, waiting for, you know, like the price will ramp up, price discovery at the top, and then it will pull back as people take profits, and then there'll be people coming in when it comes into this bottom, trying to pick the bottom and get that long-term rise afterwards, which is no doubt going to happen. Other copies of Ethereum, they're worth billions of dollars, right? So why is Pulse not going to be worth billions of dollars? That's kind of the logic. And Jennifer says, Alex, that is good to know. Absolutely. And Power Windows, will you get copies of USDC? It should do. Now that's one of the more vague issues is around the USDC, whether the custodials will back that on Pulse. But I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. Otherwise, they get a lot of complaints. We'll see. Will I be able to end stake my ETH Hex stakes on Pulsechain and then start a new ETH stake on Pulsechain? You will. And stake my ETH Hex stakes on Pulsechain. Yeah, well, it's going to be the PHEX stakes on Pulsechain. You'll be able to stake and unstake those. Yep. It's going to use the same code for staking, and then start a new Hex ETH Hex stake on Pulsechain. Yeah, you can't do any ETH Hex staking, unstaking on Pulsechain. It's going to be PHEX staking and unstaking on Pulsechain. Hopefully that's clear. So they're two different chains. You're getting a copy of the ETH stakes on Pulsechain, and you can do your unstake and stake on those using Pulse Hex. It's going to be Pulse Hex on one chain, ETH Hex on the ETH chain. Hopefully that's clear. And Frosty Dog's in the house. Hey, Frosty Dog, good to see you. Frosty Dog, that's a cool name. I like that. Frosty Dog says Matic Network is Pulse competition. It is. Matic Network is second layer though too. So Matic Network is second. So ETH chain is a layer 1. Pulse chain is going to be a layer 1 copy, and therefore you own your coins. If you own the keys on layer 1, on layer 1 you own the keys so to your coins and your wallet. So you own those. That's the key. When you go to layer 2, I like Matic, but when you go to layer 2, you take on an added risk of the fact that you don't own the layer 1 coins anymore. They own the layer 1 coins. They have this, in a sense, they have the keys to those coins, and so because you're swapping them over, you're getting a copy on layer 2. So you haven't got the real layer 1 coins. So just take that into account. Other than that, I really like Matic. I think they're doing a great job. Tons of projects are going on. It seems to be the dominant solution for layer 2. They're taking away congestion from layer 1. But you don't own the coins in theory because you're swapping them over. Hopefully that's clear. Yeah, cool. Let's have a look there. So Cosmos, Gemini, big thumbs up there. Hey, Cosmos, great to see you in there. Hey, don't forget, everybody, subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button. Really helps the algorithms. And, of course, share. Hit the bell, of course, for future videos. We're going to be coming Pulsechain. Obviously, we cover Axion in full. We cover Hex as well. We cover Wise. We cover, all the great yield yield projects. We're going to be doing more of that all the time. I've been doing videos lately on NFTs, of course, for beginners. So trying to explain NFTs, trying to explain DeFi for beginners, really trying to add value to people. And you won't see me pumping a lot of projects, right? I'll just be talking about yield, ones that provide yield and real tangible earnings as well, and perform better in bear markets. So that's where we're basically heading with this channel as well. So pretty cool. All right, Frosty Dog says the sooner we sacrifice, the better. Why? Well, we're going to find out the final gamification of that, but there is a penalty scheme in the original draft. So it was going to be after 7 days, it was going to be a negative, a 4.5%, 4.25% penalty day after day. That was originally going to go up to the 30th day, and that would be, you know, a massive, you know, you get quite a bit less by the time you got to the end. So it looks like it's going to be earlier the better. It's going to be the case from that. We are waiting final gamification of that, but that's kind of the way we're heading at the moment. So earlier the better is what Richard has said. So that's an indication that the game theory will support that. It's probably as close as we can get to a good answer there. Let us know in the chat if anyone's seen anything different on that. We'll be able to stake Pulse. Yes, you can. So when Pulse gets issued after the sacrifice phase, then you will be able to stake that with the validators on the blockchain. So let's go quickly check that out. That's a good question. So as you can see here, this is the actual pulsechain.com site, and you can see on here that we are going to have that here. So Pulse has a 0% inflation. Validators only earn fees, and 25% of the fees are burnt to reduce the circulating supply, right? Pulsechain's native token, okay? PLS, looks like it's going to be that, but we're not having 100% confirmation, but that seems like the logical word for it. Can be staked and delegated to validators, and we know the validators are the ones that will be confirming, you know, the transactions, the blocks, etc., that reward the delegators with the largest percentage of the fees. All right, so you can delegate it to validators and that reward the delegators with the largest percentage of fees. All right, so you can become a staker with your Pulse and earn a return on that. Nice one. See, it's not going to be the miners in Ethereum. You know, we've got proof of work and a proof of stake. So it's not going to be the miners earning the rewards. It's going to be you, the stakers and the validators. And inflation is going to be zero, which is going to be a big deal. There's also going to be fee burning. And we know that Ethereum's trying to do that now with the London fork. Excuse me, with the London fork, they're going to try and burn and do some tips as they move from proof of work to proof of stake. We know that proof of stake started in December, and we know that some big money's actually gone recently into staking as well. And we've got the London fork coming up, and that's going to be interesting how that impacts on fees as well. But also, they've still got a long way to go to get their sharding in place and to also get ETH 1.0 docked with ETH 2.0. And so that looks like it could be much further off. So these short-term EIP 1559 enhancements will do something, but I think once congestion comes in, it's really going to have a big impact. But that's why there's the layer 2 Matic solution on top. But of course, you don't own your keys on that layer 2, whereas on Pulsechain, you're going to get a big airdrop of all that stuff. You're going to get ETH 2.0 plus, and there's going to be some secret source as well. We don't know exactly what that's going to be. And also, you're going to be able to have layer 1. You're going to own your coins. You're going to have the keys. So I hope that those differences really, you know, take you home. So it's pretty awesome. Right. So Fresh Stock says, will we be with Pulse token on day 1 of Pulse launch if we sacrifice day 1 of sacrifice? What if we sacrifice on day 10? And will we get day 1 also when launches? Yeah, everyone should be able to, they're going to have the launch phase. Let's say it's 14 days, then the calibration afterwards, and then it's going to be the 3rd day of publishing. I guess the results was the initial way it was going to be done. So if it's done anything similar like that, you should be able to claim your Pulse tokens is what I'm thinking is going to be done. Because you're sacrificing under the Harry rule, you expect nothing, and then you're going to have to mint your own tokens rather than give them to you, is the way I'm thinking it's going to go, just like Hex did, because that makes sense a lot with that. We'll see if that final plays out. But yeah, everyone will get their Pulse coins before them, you know, before, if not at the time when Pulse launches. But I imagine it's going to be accessible before that. Probably just sitting, just waiting to go for the Pulsechain to start. Is what's going, because it's going to be on the Pulsechain, right? And so we're going to have to wait for the mainnet to start, and then they'll probably be active, and then we'll get price discovery is the way I'm going to expect it to happen. The other side of it, of course, is also going to be potentially a bridge over to Ethereum with the opposite pairs. So Pulse Hex, P Hex, and ETH Hex, for example, or Pulse and Pulse and ETH. pairs as well. So it's going to be interesting stuff. Also, a DEX looks like there'll be a copy of Uni. Uni, I understand, is going to be part of the play. And why wouldn't Uniswap want to be part of the play? Because obviously Hex helped make Uniswap popular, and also so it's a nice give back too, that it'll be on Unidex for price discovery on the Pulsechain. It's going to be a lot of fun. So bridge over from Pulsechain over to Hex, and also a Uniswap on Pulse. It's going to be for fun times, man. Gold rush for sure. All right, so let's go to Michael Ruccio. Hey, Michael. Gold, yeah, absolutely gold. It's going to be gold rush for sure. It's going to be very exciting, and I think that people are going to try and play the opening of the Pulse, right? Because it's a big, speculation price, and obviously people do well doing that. But there's also a long play, right? And people do typically do better longer term than trading by holding. So I think that's going to be an interesting play out, and we'll see how people go. People are going to have different strategies. We'll see what happens. Alex K. Kisted, you can stake Pulse without time lock, like in Hex. More like delegating to validators for passive income. Absolutely, Alex. And Power Windows, will I get more Pulse if I sacrifice on day one of sacrifice phase than if I hold until Pulsechain launch and get copies or double my USD on the airdrop? There's looks like a couple questions in there. If I hold until Pulsechain launch, you will get more, probably, based on what Richard said earlier, and bigger will get more. So that's what we're expecting. Some people are going to probably do an average over the first couple of days. There'll be a price weighted average, of course, for coins. So we're going to see how that plays out. Get copies or double my USDC on airdrop. Hold until Pulsechain launch and get copies. I'm not quite sure the second one there. We don't know what the price discovery value is going to be, but I imagine that Pulsecoin itself, so Pulsecoin for the sacrifice will pump pretty hard, whereas USDC is going to be the same, right? So, and Alex says, I would not count on USD copy on Pulse holding the dollar value. That's the other side of it. So it's a really good point. So will USDC hold the dollar value? Because we have seen circumstances where USD on some pairs has not been backed one-to-one as well, but sometimes it holds up based on perception of stable coin, right? It's actually not backed with a real $1 US by the custodial. We have seen situations in that like that, even with with the custodial stuff. But also perception is often hold it to one-to-one. So will the USDC actually hold one-to-one when the copy is made? And that's a really good comment there, Alex. I would not count on USDC copy on Pulse holding the dollar value, but you could try to hold Hex and see if you're free. You hold Hex and see if your free P Hex will get you more Pulse than sacrificing. So that's something you could do. Really nice. And Power Window says, thank you, sir. Yeah, really good comment. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, the US dollar stable coin is going to be interesting. See how they value. I think that they're going to tend to $1. But they're going to be more potential. They could be potentially more volatile until Pulse gets some time on being live. It takes a bit of time, but I think that's going to be an interesting gambit there. Will it be 90%? Will it be 80%? Will it just start tending to one, but have more volatility around that one? Going to be quite interesting. And will the custodials? How will the custodials back it up? It's the other side of it. I think that's interesting. Richard has talked about a bit of that stuff. Kirsten said, heard something about airdrop on the Staker app. Yeah, that's the other thing that Staker app's actually going to be doing. I think they're looking at doing, with the new innovations coming up, looking to do tradable shares, especially for Hex. So that's really Hex focused more, but looks like they're going to try and do tradable shares on Staker app. And I think they're doing that through NFTs, I believe. So that's how that's going to work. Obviously, Axion is also doing, it's going to be probably a more advanced solution, actually. Axion is going to be looking at doing stakes for NFTs. So if you've got a long 15-year stake on Axion, which is what we call max share stake, then that's going to be tradable on in an NFT, and it's going to be a tradable market. So even if you stay for 15 years, you get a lot of the upfront benefits, but you're going to be able to exit that position early rather than having to hold it for 15 years, which is cool if you're going to do that. But if you want to sell it earlier, you can also trade that out after gaining a lot of the shorter term benefits, medium term benefits. So it's eventually going to be out there too. So interesting stuff. That Staker app's trying to do something similar. They're almost fractionalizing the shares. So let's say that you got one T share, they might trade maybe 25%, maybe some B shares in there. So it's going to be interesting. Morris says, what is the point on sacrificing for Pulse? Why not just hold Hex? Your advice? Well, some people are going to do that, Marisa. Some people are going to do that. I think Alex got a. So I think they will bridge EUSD via ETH bridge and use that instead. Yeah, I think you might be right on that, Alex. That's a good point. So that's when we say EUSD or ETH USDC, and I think that's probably the better one too, Alex. So yeah, definitely. Now back to Mauricio's question. What is the point of sacrificing for Pulse? Why not just hold Hex? Your advice? Well, some people are doing that. Some people, there's different strategies. There's not just one strategy. Some people are going to go all in on Pulse. They're going to sacrifice quite a high amount, maybe quite a bit of their value. I wouldn't recommend that, of course. I always recommend a diverse portfolio and risk management. Always, those principles are fundamental to investing. Despite how good things might be, like you still got to be prudent management. So, but what a lot of people are doing is just nominating how much US dollars am I happy to put into this, and what do I think my returns might be. Obviously, Pulsechain will be a big deal, but how much of a big deal over time? That's the other thing. I think it's going to be a big deal. I think it's going to be the biggest opportunity in the air. But this is my opinion, not investment advice. You've got to do your own due diligence because it is risk and return, high risk return potentially, right? So now, there are obviously a lot of chains that have copied ETH that are worth billions, and obviously I think there's a lot more going for Pulsechain in that regards, so take that into account as well. Now, obviously, Pulsechain will also take a sort of a role like Matic does. Matic takes a lot of congestion off Ethereum, and it's really helped a lot because we know that Uniswap version 2 and 3 are one of the pretty much the highest users of gas. People trading on there are really forcing the gas use, and it creates a lot of congestion, especially when markets move up strongly or down strongly. We see that, and obviously Pulsechain is going to play that role too. It's going to take a lot of attention, a lot of energy away from trading. Like the number of people trading on ETH, will be trading on Pulsechain, and people slowly migrate away. And I think you'll find that if you've always been trading on ETH, which dominates like 85% of DeFi, right, with smart contracts and stuff like that, then that's actually getting eroded, I believe, that number. So that was what it originally was probably last year. So I think that's definitely getting eroded now. So it's some interesting stuff on that. But I think that, yeah, some people are going to just hold Hex. They're going to hold Hex liquid. Some people are going to stake Hex because Hex got a different thing going as well. You also, people are staking for T-shares, right? They want to get more T-shares because T-shares is going to become rarer, right? So the T-shares are really expensive now. Let's have a quick look at that just to show you that there are competing use cases, not just for the Pulse, but we've got, you've got a lot of stuff happening in the space. So people, when they're talking about Hex, they want to get more T-shares. They're not just after Pulse, they're actually after the T-shares. So we can see that T-share now is $1,541 US. And what's that driven by? That's driven by the T-share price. It's driven by Hex price, and it's driven by the share rate, right? And then we can see the share rate. Look at the share rate. It's just staggering. So there's big payday back on the 19th of November last year. Look, it just jumped. So it's actually way more expensive it's now 16, after big payday, it jumped from 11,000 Hex per T-share to 16,000 on one day, and you can see it just keeps rising, right? And this is true for any share rate thing. So it's true for Axion that has a share price. It's true for Wise that has a share price, right? Any CD type based project has the same thing, and you see it's up to 182. So this could be eventually worth 50,000. It's 100,000. These things are going to keep going. The share price is going to keep going up, and if Hex price goes up, then it's just the total price of a T-share just goes up. So some people are looking at Hex from that point of view and less on Pulsechain, so they'll be going for Pulse. But some people will be buying Hex to put in liquid. All right, so one strategy is to get more T-shares. One strategy is, which has very little to do with Pulse, really. Then the next strategy is to get Hex liquid and just hold the Hex liquid and just go for that. So if the Hex price gets pumped up, you got all this Hex, you get 2-3x on it, and you sell it down later on, right? And then there's the third strategy, of course, is that people are going to sacrifice Hex. So it's the easiest thing to move, and they'll put that into the sacrifice because it's going to go up, and theoretically expected to go up in price, right? And so the TWAP, the trade weighted price, is going to be higher, right? Sorry, time weighted price is going to be higher. So those are different strategies. People have to make a choice. People have to make a choice, and that's why Richard talked about doing 2/3, 1/3, sacrificing 2/3, holding 1/3 Hex was kind of the strategy there. Obviously, you can sacrifice other tokens too, you know, uni coins or whatever. It's really the US dollar amount that matters, and that's why the higher the US dollar potential, and that's you can push up a token, the better. That's generally the basic stuff. The other side of it, of course, is not just the USD price, but it's the total amount. The more that you can sacrifice, the more potential Pulse coins that you'll get out the other side. And obviously, Pulse coin is mostly going to the sacrifice holders because we know that ETH's going to be a 1-to-1, and also a lot of the whales going to be probably stopped from being able to claim too much stuff. So hopefully that helps with that question. Really good question. It says, I think they will bridge. Yeah, we'll go into that one. Will Matic be a coin you can sacrifice? Yeah, it's Matic's on is an ERC20 on the ETH chain, so you will be able to sacrifice that one. Question, pull up. Yeah, and Kirsten, do you think it is possible to sacrifice a dollar amount of tokens and then actually lose money after the launch? It's always possible, Kirsten, always possible. But I think I think unlikely, but it's possible. Now Hex may go up. For example, if we use Hex, the golden child one, where you can move the liquidity and the price a lot. Hex may go up to a certain amount, and then it may be sold down. But when's that going to happen? Because obviously Hex is still subject, despite how good it is, and despite there's going to be less liquid Hex after the snapshot, it can still go through, be sold off, right? Because it's based on the last. Any market is based on the last buyer. So if the buyers stop buying, then the price can move down. That's as simple as that, right? And if people sell it down, obviously you have to have sellers sell it down to move down in that case, but that's the way it works. So yeah, there's nothing to stop that. But I think the probability, we're playing probability, Custard, so we think the probability is that it's going to be huge gold rush, huge price discovery, huge opportunity. And so we're playing probability with the number of factors that we think that are going to make it really good. Not to say that Pulse won't have a pullback, because that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting to go up, pull back, and then go up long term. That's what I'm expecting. That's my personal view, and that's what we see a lot in crypto. We see that happen a lot. But like I say, it's not just Pulsechain's a real full-on copy state of Ethereum. It's not just any project that's willy-nilly like a meme coin or empty coin. You know, where the founders hold 60% of the coins, you know, and dump on your heads and stuff like that. It's nothing like that. Mariko says, how long will the sacrifice time go on? We're expecting it to be 14 days. It was originally going to be 30 days plus 3 days, 2 days of calibration and a final day of publishing. That was the original time, but we're expecting it to be half because Richard said it was probably going to be half as long. That's the expectation at the moment. Obviously, we won't know the full details of all the stuff that we're talking about today. Won't know the full details until the actual sacrifice page gets launched. And when it gets launched, it's going to be on this page here. So it's going to be on here. And once again, as I said at the beginning of the video, make sure that you get your information from pulsechain.com, which I've left in the description. I'll leave it in the video description. Make sure that you sign up to the official Telegram group. Okay. Make sure that you follow Richard on Twitter, and make sure you follow Richard on YouTube. And that's where the announcement's going to be. Make sure that you're using only official channels. I'm saying it again and again. Use the official channels, because you don't want to send your valuable wealth and your valuable coins to a scammer's sacrifice address, because they're going to be out in storm, because it's going to be the biggest airdrop in history, the biggest price discovery, and the biggest gold rush potentially out there. So obviously that's the probability statements, and that's what we're expecting given a number of factors, but it's not investment advice. Do own due diligence. It really is. You're supposed to expect nothing under the Howey rule, and that's the way it's going to go. So just say that again and again. I'm facing the same issue. I have all the same issues that you guys have, and so does Alex and everyone else that's on the chat here. D7, let's say you want to sell. Oh, wait a minute. Did I get up to that? Alex says, yeah, I would sacrifice some, hold some liquid Hex, and be flexible based on how Pulse P-Hex trading goes. Absolutely. I think it's a good strategy. Nice one, Alex. Let's say you want to sell P-Hex at top, Pulse Hex, that is, and you sell your P-Hex on Uniswap. P-Uniswap, I like that, D7. P-Uniswap, you're the first person I've actually said P-Uniswap. That's pretty funny. But you sell your P-Hex on P-Uniswap to USDC or Pulse. Well, you got the USDC issue, haven't you? We're still waiting for resolve on that. And as Alex pointed out earlier, or Pulse. Yeah, so you could buy, well, you got P-Hex, you can buy Pulse. Yeah, you can do that. You can see that. That should be available with the P-Uniswap available. Alex K says, Custard, of course it's possible. No risk, no reward. Mauricio, probably 2 weeks or a little more. Yeah, good backup comments there. And Custard, will the sacrifice hex affect the staker class APY? It probably will do over time. There'll be well, the stake class APY is based on the number. It will do slightly. I think it will do. It might be a bit more than slightly. We might see a percentage point or something. But remember that the staker class at the moment is 9.677% is staked. So that's that blue amount there. 61.35 billion hex is staked, and we've got 572.66 billion is liquid. But I think that obviously, from my view, 90% of that's controlled by the Origin wallet. So that makes very little amount liquid if you think about it. And a lot of that, if that gets sacrificed, it's going to be even less. But it's going to the sacrifice address. So theoretically, it should still stay in this red band. And so if we do see a change in the APY, which is around about 38%, then we actually got the here. Yeah, 37.58% is the APY at the moment. Staked is $5 billion US dollars, and the TVL obviously pretty similar, staked in pools. But that there should stay pretty similar, but we might see a small impact, is I guess my expectation. I think the APY might go up just slightly, but we could actually see it go up even more. So I'm talking about in the short term, but I think that actually once there's less liquid hex around, the price will go up. People will want it even more, and so that will actually could have a more self-fulfilling, which is kind of business as usual, but it's going to be boosted a little bit because the hex will be even less scarce. And my view is that there will always get some big sellers, especially OG sellers, original hex investors. But I think that over time, T-shares is going to become rarer, and this is true for Axion too. This happens in Axion as they become rarer, but they people will really want to hold on to their T-shares. They become more valuable over time, as we said. So you might people, instead of selling all their bags of hex down, they'll just keep reinvesting because where they're going to make such a good APY. Like I said, even with Celsius, Compound, Aave, and good DeFi project like that, where you can put your stable coins or Bitcoin or ETH or something like that. Your returns are only so-so. Was it 8% on average? I think across those platforms now, something like that. And they're going down. So as more money comes into crypto, those returns go down over time, right? Because the more money that comes into the pool, just the way it works. So yeah, I think that's probably an interesting question. A really good question though. Alex says if it's reducing total hex staked, then it increases the APY a little in a positive way. Yeah, I agree with that. That's where I sit on that too. Now remember, there's only, as we said there's only 9.677% staked. That's why the APY is so high. Obviously, the less that's staked, the higher the APY. We know that if 1% of hex was staked, then the APY would be 369% APY. Whoa, pretty cool. So but you don't really want it to get to that point unless the OA wallet controlled all the hex. That's the only time you'd want to get into that position. But you've got to have the balance right too. Obviously, you'd get probably a lot of sellers selling into that too. You got a lot of hex selling in. Because the stakers are the ones that are earning the inflation, not the Origin wallet sitting in here. Now, I do believe that the Origin wallet does have some stakes in there, I understand, but not many compared to the total is what I understand. But I'm not exactly sure the exact numbers, but that's where it works out. But I think they've got a nice balance in there, 37.5, 40%. I think that's kind of a managed outcome too. So I think that's a cool rate there. All right, some nice questions as well. Alex K, I'm also curious to see how much OA will sacrifice, if any. That's the other side of it. How much is the OA going to sacrifice into the Pulsechain to get Pulsechain, and they'll be able to also influence Pulsechain value as well? That's a really good point. And market cap. It's going to be interesting stuff, and I think it's going to be similar. If you ask me, I think it's going to be similar to the Hex project. Also, I also think that the God Whale, if you're familiar with the God Whale was buying a lot of Hex up, and we don't know exactly who that is. Is it the Origin Wallet's ETH account, or is it another God Whale? We do know that there are some big VC investors associated to buying, and so there are some big millionaires out there that are getting involved, as well as Richard indicated that also some of the original project founders are looking to get in as well into the sacrifice. So these are of other big projects. I've talked give them an indicator that they're keen. And everyone's seen that Hex has got the best chart in crypto in the bull market, right? So, and the bear market for that matter, in the last year and a half. And so people have taken notice for sure, and it works very well. So that's pretty interesting. Let me just jump back down here. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button, please. And obviously hit the bell for more videos. We're going to be covering Pulsechain. Obviously, we're going to be covering good yield projects. That includes Hex, includes Axion, of course, includes a Wise, includes a stable coin, a DeFi, also yield farming. We're going to be covering that, stuff like Matic, QuickSwap, Adamant, all that sort of stuff. ViperSwap, we'll be getting onto all that stuff as well, which is, we're covering a range of different risk return yield farming. But it's the best stuff in crypto. It's got some real value behind it. All right, so let's have quickly. Alex says it would help increase total value of Pulse Sacrifice. Yeah, it would. I think that's going to be a big deal, Alex, too. Once sacrifice is over, what coin do we get back? You're going to get probably what they call Pulse coin is what we're expecting to get back. Alex K, therefore increasing its value. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. That's the big play, right? But obviously, Richard wants the markets to be bigger, even higher. At the moment, it's at the very minimum. I think this is the very minimum. Richard really doesn't want to launch with ETH under 2,000, in my view. So I think that's the really key. The higher the value that this is going to be, the better. And look at, I think Binance holding on pretty well there. Awesome stuff. Now, where was I on there? I'm not even sure where I left the chart there. I do apologize if I've taken it off there. All right, so I'm not even sure what I was on there, but I think it was on the coins. Because I said the OA owns 90% or 50%. I believe it owns 90%. Is where it's at. I know that Rich is talking about 50%, but it's 90%. Too many. We saw that on Big Payday. On Big Payday, staking went right up to a 90. I think it was 98 point. Excuse me. It went up from about 9% or whatever it was up to 98 point something percent, which can only be done if you control something like 90% of the volume. So yeah. Marika says it's too many questions. Sorry, I'm new at this. Hey, you're welcome. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Mauricio, only Pulse for all the sacrificing. Yeah. So everyone's sacrificing Ethereum-based tokens and non-Ethereum coins, and so all that's going to be valued in US dollars. And in return, you expect nothing, but in actuality, you're going to be able to mint or your Pulse coins is what we're expecting to happen. And that Pulse coin is going to be the main coin of the Pulse chain, just like Ethereum is for the Ethereum blockchain. Alex says, conflate OA, bonus, Hex, and coins that were taken out of the adoption outflow to prevent price arbitrage. Those are not necessarily OA owned. And Custard, is the sacrifice possibly going to the OA for Pulse? Yeah, I think Alex answered that one. Made it, says Justin Davis. Hey, Justin, good to see you in the chat. Woohoo! Hey, don't forget, we've just launched memberships on this channel. We've already had our first member, Kevin Atkins, yesterday. So get into that. It's only just been launched the last 24 hours, and it helps to support this channel. We're going to be fully focused on all the great DeFi projects. Obviously, Axion, Pulsechain. We talk about Hex. We talk about Wise. These are the true innovators in the space, true high yield. They do the best in bear markets because they've got a yield to offset price challenges. They also get wrapped Bitcoin, obviously in Axion. You get awesome APY and Hex. You got obviously T shares, which is exciting to talk about. You've got Wise does US dollar fixed airdrops, which means that you're always getting US dollar airdrops. These are the real value. This is the frontier. This is the real stuff that people are after. And obviously there's the good DeFi projects and yield farming stuff. So we're going to be talking all about that. So if you want to support this channel with the membership, get in there. There's 4 different options. Choose one that you like and help support this channel grow. We are growing pretty fast at the moment. And really, we've had a 7x in viewers, and we want to just keep getting bigger. We're going to obviously be ethical and do ethical stuff, talk about as much ethical as we can. There are always risk and rewards. We can't, cancel out the risk rewards thing, but obviously people have to make choices around that. But in terms of the projects, only really talking about the good ones that we see happening. So that includes talking about bridges. I think bridges are a big value opportunity. Some of those projects doing bridges, like Expoliate is a good one, stuff like that. We're going to be talking about awesome stuff like that. So get into it, help support this channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and hit the bell for further notifications. Mariko is in the house. I understand once Sacrifice goes live, we'll get notification on MetaMask. I didn't know that. That would be cool if that's happened. I'm not sure how they will do that, but yeah, that would be cool. Maybe Richard's lined something up. That might be pretty exciting. it would be fun. That might be a deal he's got on with MetaMask as well, so pretty cool. Did Sacrifice get delayed? Yeah, it's been delayed for a little while, but I think it's they're still building the website, still building the Sacrifice system page basically, and also the code, and also mainnet for Pulsechain itself. Testnet coming up, so testnet's coming up pretty soon. Looks like it probably launched at the same time, or if not just after the Sacrifice phase. The other thing is that the markets, pull back so severely that Richard really needs, if you're going to do any capital raise, it's this thing for like Pulsechain, like a capital raise, it's going to be, you need the higher, the better the market, the better. And when ETH was under 2,000, that's not the best time. I mean, it's, you got to go at some stage, but now that the market's back over 2,000, it's really cool. And Rich will be watching that like a hawk. Remember, Rich has talked a lot about, he wanted a bull bounce where, Bitcoin went back up to 55 and then pulled back to 10, because he was going to try and time the market when it's get back up there, as my guess. So that's the higher the total value that gets raised. But yeah, definitely think. And as Alex pointed out, the Origin wallet's going to play its part probably. We just don't know how much, but I presume it's going to be similar to Hex, and it's going to create a lot of extra value that way. So it's we've got a lot of variables we're just looking to see out. We're all just watching, and we're going to see what happens. No one truly knows the total outcome. So it's going to be pretty interesting stuff. Alex says, Mariko, no, it will be announced by Richard Hart on YouTube, at Telegram, and official websites. Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be on MetaMask. That would have been quite unusual, but definitely it's going to be on the official channels. Thanks for Alex for cleaning that up. That's what I talked about at the beginning. So it will be announced on YouTube, Telegram, and official websites, and we've posted the links to those on this channel. So don't forget to check those out. I will leave them in the video description as well. And also verify, even though I'm posting them, please verify them and make sure that you double checked everything, cross the T's as it were. But really cool. Thanks, Alex, for that. Justin Davis says, Alex, there was never a solid date to start Sacrifice. Up to Richard to pick a day. Yeah, there was. Originally, Richard did say like 7 days, but it's been a lot longer than that. And he's just giving us best indication. And there's so many moving variables, development and the market prices, that he's had, obviously timing it to the best time. But we do know that's probably pretty imminent now. So we're all looking out, all super excited for it. Mariko says, thanks, Axion, Alex and Axion Token. Thanks so much for all the info. Hey, we're just trying to help, so I really appreciate those compliments. And Space DDO7, will also Wise Token be airdropped on Pulsechain? Now, we're thinking that Wise and Axion will probably be missed out. We're not don't know that for 100%, but we believe those are the two tokens that Richard's been talking about. They're kind of copies, but they're not really anymore. The code's quite different, and they've obviously gone off into completely different offerings. Obviously, I promote Axion because I love it, and it's got wrapped Bitcoin and stuff like that, dividends. So it's very different now, and but I think they all offer something really special. And I talked about those a bit earlier. Now you can check out a lot of videos on this channel. I don't really talk. I've got a separate channel for some of the other ones. I do run other YouTube channels. So I just typically talk about them on separate ones. But hey, there we are. Check it out. It's always good to have a diverse portfolio of investments, not everything on one bag, even if you think it's the best thing in the world. And I know Richard often says to sell everything for Hex, but I still think you've got to keep your prudent risk management, have a little bit of a diverse portfolio, not too widely diverse, because I think you take on actually more risks in some diversified portfolios, but at least have a couple of really good projects that you're really confident with, have a high probability. Is the main choice there. Mauricio says, any local meetings in person on this in LA area? Not, but I don't believe so. But check out Pulsechain Telegram and also Hex Telegram, and you'll be able to see whether they're doing any meetups. I know that Hex did a meetup in Las Vegas on Hex, and they would have been talking about Pulsechain for sure. But no, Richard never turned up to that the Las Vegas meeting for that either. So I don't think they're too far apart, are they? LA and Los Angeles, maybe a couple hours apart, something. I could be completely wrong about that. I thought it was about 3 hours apart, but you can correct me if you like. Alex K says, Mauricio, I should say, there was a Las Vegas Hexagon meetup. Hey, I just said that. Alex is like beating me to the chat because I'm just a little bit behind the comments there. So nice one, Alex. XCL's in the house. What's up, y'all? Hey, XCL. Great to see you again. XCL does Axion merch. So here's the Axion merch channel. Go check out XDL. It's actually on YouTube here. I've got a recommended channels. I think I've got X on there. but definitely on a URL link. I think I got a URL link. I don't think XCL has a YouTube channel, but got XCL link there. So very cool on that. Hey, XCL, good to see you. Custard's in the house. Thanks, guys. I know I like how you explain things so clearly. Hey, we're trying to do our best. I really appreciate that compliment, and I'm sure Alex appreciates that too. Mauricio, Alex, I know, but I'm in LA. Be nice. Yeah, it would be cool too. But I do know that it's not into crypto, but it's another Hexcan. They do. I do watch his videos all the time. Just can't remember who his name is, but he does. He's going to do another meetup as well. So he's the one that organized the last meetup. I'm just forgetting their names now. It's terrible. But they definitely doing the meetups. Alex might remember the two guys that run the meetups. But yeah, worth following them. Michio, I just wanted to make sure I do not mess it up when sacrifice. Absolutely, and we don't want you to mess it up either. That's why we want you to use the official sites, and we will have the final gamification when the Pulsechain launches. It will end up probably being on this page as indicated by Richard. So there'll probably be a new tab, something like that, which have the sacrifice. You just have to hook up your MetaMask wallet. And obviously, if you're doing ETH or Ethereum tokens sacrifice, then they'll all be going to the same address as everybody else will be sending their ETH and ERC20 tokens to. Obviously, if you're going to do non-Ethereum tokens, then you'll nominate your own special unique address that you sacrifice to. All that will get recorded on the blockchain, and that will be calibrated at the end based on US dollars. And then Pulse coins will be allocated accordingly within the calibration days which follow. And so then we'll all know what they are. My expectation is that we'll then have to claim our Pulse tokens or something similar, and then possibly when the Pulse mainnet goes live, we'll then be able to have those active in our wallet to run on the Pulse chain itself. And then hopefully there'll be the Pulse Uni swap up there, and also there'll be some bridges, hopefully either first day or the second day, a bridge to the ETH chain as well. So we'll be able to get the economic energy flowing between those two networks. It's going to be pretty fun, to be honest. It'll be interesting to see what else gets launched. Richard might have some launches as well, some DeFi that launches. That may be some really cool stuff. Also, I'm expecting in the future, I'm expecting there to be some VC, some investment vehicles for Hex in particular, and maybe that will include Pulse as well. And that they will have that'll be for like Wall Street investors, VC investors, private investors, big money. That's going to be interesting. I think that's the next evolution as part of going mainstream for Hex in particular and Pulsechain. I think both of those two are going to probably end up be promoted together, and it's going to be interesting to watch that. And obviously all the other tokens that you're on the chain, if you're after more uni tokens on Pulse Uni, Pulse this, Pulse that, it's going to be really interesting. And the other side of it is also going to be exchanges. What centralized exchanges promote all these things, it's going to, or adds all the Pulse versions onto their chains. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how that plays out as well. So I'm not sure if a lot of you thought about that, but obviously getting Pulse equivalent tokens, Pulse Uni, Pulse whatever it's going to be, Pulse Hex listed on the centralized exchange is going to be interesting as well. And we'll see if we get any announcements about that, because I'm pretty sure that Richard's had a lot of people from a lot of big projects this time around approaching him about this. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff coming around about that. All right, so Justin Davis said Richard knows how the phases need to be played to make us all rich. Yeah, he does, Justin, that's right. Space Dido7, Wise ETH being on ERC20, I guess Wise will be airdropped on Pulse chain, right? Sorry, I was not sure of your answer. So I'm not expecting Wise or Axion to be copied over to Pulse chain, but they may. Richard's talked about two copies of Hex, and those are probably the two that he's talking about. There are a couple other potential candidates, but I think those are possibly the two. But we won't know until the final date. But those at this stage, that's where my information lies. I'm not sure if I think Alex would probably agree with that. And yeah. All right, so XL, mad love for Superman. Hey, XL, appreciate that, and keep up the good work with that Axion merch. Really cool. Alex K says, yeah, telegram me /pulsechain.com. So that's the official Pulse telegram. Make sure they're on the official sites. Everybody that's watching, be on the official sites for the Pulse chain. That's the Twitter. That's the website. That's Telegram. And that's also Richard Hart on YouTube. Those are the 4 places where it's going to get announced, folks. No one else. Just keep on to those, right? Yeah, and I hadn't heard about MetaMask at all, and I think that that's not likely at all. Richard would have mentioned that if that was the case. So don't expect that. But good confirmation there from Alex as well. Kirsten says Matt and Alan. Not sure what that is. It's a Telegram for Pulse. Yeah, so that's the Pulse Telegram. You can see it here on the official website. So I'll just post that again in the actual chat. Alex says, hour and a half stream on Pulse. Nice drop suit, man. Hey, I didn't even realize. Hey, this hour and a half. Hey, we might wrap it up in the next 2 minutes. We're up 1 hour, 28 minutes and 42 seconds. It's been a pretty epic live stream, actually, and I really super appreciate Alex and all the comments. I would just really particularly also want to say special thanks to the super stickers, which help support the channel from Jason earlier. We got that one there. And also we got this one here. Really appreciate that big support there. Really do love that. So obviously the more funding I can get into this channel, the more I can spend doing promotions and videos. I can spend, switch my time over to doing more and more, which I'm very excited to do. So that'll be a lot of fun. Alex says, I think RG3 is in LA area. All right, RG3, yeah, cool. Yeah, so there are two promoters that did the Hex meetup. They're both really cool guys. They've got their own YouTube channel. You can check that out on YouTube. And Mauricio says thanks. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think we're coming up. Yeah, we've got about 30 seconds left. I'm just going to say, thanks very much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Look, some really great questions today, and special shout out to Alex and obviously Jason for the super stickers. And also I wanted to say that we're going to be obviously covering Pulsechain and all the other stuff I've mentioned several times. And make sure you subscribe, you like. Hit that bell for more videos. Share the video around. It really helps to share the channel around to grow. And the bigger this channel grows, the more stuff we can get out as well. Reach more people with good stuff, because we really want to get good information out there, and in a fun way as well. And the other side of it is, of course, the memberships have opened for this channel for support. So if you want to get in to support the channel, there are 4 different options. Get in there, become one of the early members for sure. That'd be really cool. All right, cheers for that. Next stream, we'll probably do one as early tomorrow, because the Pulsechain is imminent. So I'll probably doing Pulsechain one probably every day. It's a good chance. We'll see how the information flows out at the moment, but that's probably likely. So awesome stuff there. You'll see I'll be loading up the things. My next live stream is for Axion later today. It's not on Pulsechain. It's on Axion. I cover the auctions for Axion every day. So that's going to be later in today. I'll be setting up that probably in 2 hours of time. So I think that's how many hours away that we're doing Pulsechain. So that's probably about 4 hours away. I'll be doing that live stream. Alex will be in there probably. So that'd be cool too. So if I do a Pulsechain one, it'll be a similar time tomorrow than I did today. So that's with Pulsechain. But I'll be doing other topics as well, specialty topics. So catch out for that. There's lots coming, folks. Lots coming. So yeah, Axion auctions, I'll be doing that tonight in 4 hours time, and Pulsechain probably tomorrow, similar time that we did today. You'll probably also see some specialty videos coming out, special topic videos coming out, pre-recorded ones on this channel as well. All right, I think I've covered everybody. Let me just go through some of these. Thank you, fellas, for the education. Hey, Power Windows, pleasure. The chair says LXL. When's your next stream? Just answered those ones. Great stream, says Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, great to see you as you always. It's definitely one of my favorite members. It's awesome. Alex, good luck, everybody. Be smart. Don't get scanned. Enjoy the mad gains. I love it, Alex. Nice stuff there from our head moderator. Mariko, when are you live again? Yeah, answered that one. What time? Yeah, about 4 hours for Axion, and probably another 22 hours or something for Pulsechain one. But I'll have some pre-recorded videos. All right, I better end the stream, otherwise I'll never finish. But take care, everybody, and enjoy yourself and relax. Grab a drink. Cheers.